They say you can't fight City Hall. Just try telling that to Martin Ross. David Menzies for Rebel News here in Markham, Ontario. And you know, folks, there's an old saying, you can't fight City Hall. But Martin Ross, standing next to me, he's sure going to try to fight City Hall. In fact, even though Martin Ross has no political background, he is running for mayor of Markham, Ontario. And what's that saying from Jaws 4? This time it's personal. You see, Martin Ross endured the city going to war against his beloved backyard hockey rink, a hockey rink that does not exist. So Martin, he's put his name in the hat. He's going to run for mayor of this city. It should prove fascinating. Now, Martin, to begin with, for those who haven't seen our previous reports of your odyssey in trying to save your backyard rink, can you briefly recap what the issue was all about?
Well, I still don't even know what the issue was about. They just came after me and they stuck it in under my heritage easement agreement saying I didn't have permits and whatnot. You don't need permits to put in a backyard rink. So you're going to have a few people, oh, he didn't have his permits. You don't need permits for a backyard rink. It was approved by the Heritage Department or supported by the Heritage Department, turned down by the Development Services Committee, which is the councillors and the mayor and whatnot. And it was a long legal battle. They probably spent, I'm going to say about $300,000-$400,000 fighting me against taking this rink out in legal fees. I don't have the exact number, but you can get the request from Freedom of Information to force me to take out my backyard rink in my own personal property. It was a pretty nicely done rink. They had nice boards. We had a chiller system and whatnot. It's a company that's called My Backyard Rink that sells these and makes these. And they forced me to take it out. They took me through court. They dragged me through a 4-year process that was, very stressful on me and my family, me and my kids. I'm a single dad with 2 kids. And it put us through a lot of stress, a lot of mental anguish. It crippled me financially, and it beat me up.
And speaking of 6-figure sums, the city really played hardball, Martin. They said if you don't remove your rink, the original estimate for them to tear down this little backyard rink was, I believe, $500,000. It was later reduced to, I think, $350,000. How did they come up with a number like that?
I don't know. They don't show me a breakdown. They just sent me a letter. Graham Seaman, as you said on one of your earlier episodes, they just sent me a letter saying we're going to charge you $350,000 to remove it. No breakdown of how they get to that number.
But that was far more than what it cost to put the rink up.
Yes, most definitely. So, and they were ready. They were ready to go. They sent their lawyers sent a letter saying we're coming tomorrow to start taking it down.
Now, we have to talk about the unspoken backstory here. It was political and it was favoritism. And by that I mean your local councillor, Reid McAlpine, he was leading the charge, and your next door neighbors, the Gagnons, and this is where it gets interesting, they were allegedly the biggest complainers about your backyard hockey rink. But as I remember, Martin, they had an addition put on their heritage house. They had a guest house built. It dwarfed your rink, but that was okay somehow, and yet your rink wasn't. And then we find out that the Gagnons are allegedly financial supporters, donors of Mr. McAlpine. Do I have that right?
You have that 100% right. And this is one of the things that I kind of want to battle when I'm running for mayor of Markham here. I want accountability. I want transparency. And, what's right for one should be right for the other. It shouldn't be a pick and choose what works for one, what works for the other. And Reid McAlpine, who I understand is no longer running, he was behind this and a strong supporter behind this of me taking my rink out. And, he had said to me at one point, I'm a politician, Martin. Their votes count as 8. Your votes count as 1. Regardless of what is right or wrong, he was after the votes. And
wow.
we brought that up in court, and it was never challenged by the city in court.
It's amazing. So just 8 votes, a 7-vote spread was enough to move the day on this. Now, Martin, what do you hope to accomplish running for mayor? Mayor Scarpetti, he is the incumbent. That gives him an automatic advantage. I guess what I'm saying is, do you have a chance here?
Well, like they said in Dumb and Dumber, you're saying there's a chance, right? So, I mean, I wouldn't enter it if it wasn't there's a chance. Do I have an uphill battle? I absolutely have an uphill battle. But you know what? I'd like the citizens of Markham to kind of understand that so far in the past, I don't even know how many years it goes back, we've all voted for professional politicians. I'm a regular guy. I'm an average Joe. And every time you voted for one of those regular professional politicians, you've ended up disappointed. Try something different for once. Go a different direction and go with one of you.
Now, part of the game in politics, Martin, of course, is money. What kind of a war chest do you have in terms of signage, pamphlets, and so forth and so on?
I have zero war chest because all my money was put into fighting City Hall. So, my war chest is going to be my feet and going door to door and meeting with people and talking to people and just being honest with them. As I mentioned, we want transparency and accountability. And what happened with my rink, I could have sat here and complained about it, bitched about it, moaned about it, been depressed about it. My rink is over and done with. That situation is gone. Mm-hmm. But I want to make sure bullying like this does never happen to another citizen here in the city of Markham again. And what's happened to me here is just a symptom of what's probably really going on at City Hall. As you know, many politicians, even inside of here, are very close with many developers. That's why their former planning commissioner is now under investigation for bribery and fraud. I can't make this stuff up. It's in writing that he's under investigation. He left here once those charges came to fruition. He went to Hamilton. He's now had to step away from his job at the city of Hamilton under these investigations.
Wow. And I mean, imagine if the improbable does happen and you win. I understand being the mayor of Markham, it's a really high paying gig, isn't it?
That you bring that up. I mean, and the numbers are a little bit, they go back and forth. Yeah. But yeah, he is one of, if not the highest paid mayor in North America, definitely in Canada. Wow. He goes back and forth with your mayor, the mayor of Richmond Hill. The two of them are kind of like a 1-2 punch, but definitely one of the highest paid mayors in North America.
Wow. Incredible. Now, I have to point out, Martin, we're just across the street from City Hall. And what is, I think, perversely ironic, right behind us are pickleball courts. I think pickleball, that's the name of the sport for those who are unable to play tennis. Anyway, and further down, there are some beach volleyball courts erected on the property. And I personally don't have a problem with that. It's great to have people come out and get active. But the thing is, why is it okay for the city in its parking lot to have pickleball courts, volleyball courts, and it was totally unacceptable for you to have a backyard hockey rink on your own private property?
Well, these are questions that, were never answered. And I don't even know if you call that a pickleball court because it seems to be made up with construction fencing, or maybe they use some hockey tape to make the lines. They maybe got the netting off of Amazon. I mean, the city of Markham, they're putting up pickleball courts. They need to do better. They need to do a better job. And I'm all for pickleball courts. Okay. I'm all for beach volleyball courts. Anything that gets people outside, gets them active, I'm all for it. Which is why I was all for my rink. Yeah. And, it's, as you mentioned, City Hall can have this right in their parking lot, right across from all these residents right here. But for me to have a rink for kids in the backyard, unacceptable. And this is where the accountability and the transparency comes in.
Yeah, that's my issue too, Martin. Not the embracing of sports, but the double standard when it came to you and your hockey rink. Well, Martin, I'm going to wish you good luck. I think you're going to need it. This is truly a David versus Goliath story. I guess we should end it with this. Give us your 30-second elevator pitch when you start going door to door and you have a half minute of a person's time. Why should I vote for Martin Ross to be the next mayor of Markham, Ontario?
I mentioned the first part is that I'm not your professional politician. I'm a regular guy just like everybody else that'll be doing the voting. I'm a regular Joe just like everybody else will be doing the voting. And you've failed with the regular politicians time and time and time and time again. It's about time that you try something new. I want to be here for the citizens. And I know you've heard politicians say that before, but I think the current people in power over here in Markham, because they've been here for so long, have forgot that, we work for them. The citizens of the city don't work for us. We work for them. I want to be there for them. I want to be there to represent them. I want to make Markham a city that we put on the map here. And I feel that there's a lot of areas where we have failed the city of Markham. We have failed the citizens of Markham. And I want to try and, turn Markham around.
Hey folks, unlike the mainstream media, Rebel News does not get a single nickel from the Mark Carney Journalism Slush Fund. But here's where you come in. Can you do me a favor? Can you go to rebelfieldreports.com? That's rebelfieldreports.com. And if you're able to, kindly make a donation so that Rebel News can continue to bring you the other side of the story.